the next two matches. What do you think, Bruce?
Well, we've got another good week coming up here. We got Johnny Watkins and Albert Saulneir, Ernie Pittman, and Chucky Sisco, four of the better bowlers in the Yarmouth area, and they're ready to knock two of them out.
And we're going to get it right underway here today. We're not going to prolong this at all. We're going to start the bowlers right off. Our first bowler coming up is Johnny Watkins. Johnny's from Overton. He's 46 years old. He's a fisherman here in the local area. Johnny's been bowling for 30 years. He bowls in 3 leagues. He currently has an average of 119. John's high single career has been 199 and has a high triple of 457.
Hey, starts off with a strike already.
Not going to waste any time here today.
He's going to jump right ahead there in a hurry. Yeah. Well, John rolls a good strike ball. He has a good in-shoot. He's very deliberate and accurate, I must say, and he's got a lot of stuff on the ball. When he gets down there and he gets it where he wants it to be, it'll do a lot of action.
John qualified for this tournament with a 342 triple.
I might add, while we're talking about John here, John's had 8 400 matches this year already, and we're just a little over halfway through most of the leagues.
And his career 400 is 20, so
yeah.
He's capable of coming up with some real big games.
He's got a good shot here, right on it. Oh, okay. To try and make the wood go to the right, he got up a little high, and it left the left-hand corner pin too. But he gets a good 8 on his strike. He'll go on the wood. And there's another good example of the wood coming off the wall and sliding across the plate. So John is away with a 27 on 2.
Our next bowler, Albert Saulneir. He's from Lower Wedgeport. He's 39 years old. He's a boat builder and lobster buyer. Albert's been bowling for 26 years. He also currently bowls in 3 leagues. Has a current average of 123.
He's another one of the guys this year that have had a number of 400s, and I'm just kind of looking at the board now. He's had 5 400s this year, and I'm not sure we know how many he's had in his career, but a good solid bowler, bowls anchor usually on his team, and has come up with some real good games.
He certainly has. His career high single is 177, and his high triple is 448.
So he starts off with a 9.
Again, very capable of coming up with some big games here.
Really good hit on that head pin, and leaves the 7-8 with a good deadwood up front, but the deadwood in behind, although if he shoves it back, it probably could come off the wall, take the left-hand corner pin if he needs it. He went the other way, went on the back wood and got his spare. So he has a mark to start these first 2 boxes.
Our next bowler up, Ernie Pittman. Ernie, again, he was one of the bowlers that bowled last year. For any of you that might have followed the tournament last year, lives here in Yarmouth. His age is 36 years old. He's a utility worker at the Yarmouth Hospital, and he bowls in the Sunday Night Mixed League.
Not bowling as much as he used to. Used to bowl, well, where Ernie worked here for a while, was bowling in a number of leagues and getting some practice in probably, and as you say, he's only bowling 1 league now, but he's still a top bowler.
Certainly is.
He's got a shot there now, Cliffy, of pins 4 and 8 and the 10 pin. He's got some wood there to help him. Nice shot. Ooh, okay, it carried over but behind the corner pin, so that was a difficult shot.
Yeah. Ernie currently has 113 average. He has a career high single of 179 and a career high triple of 448. So all all 4 of these bowlers are real strong.
Yeah, well, as I said on the top of the show, there are 4 of the top bowlers in Brunswick Lanes
Yeah.
here.
Ernie qualified for this tournament with a triple of 353.
Got a 5-pin drop here with a head pin still up, so there's a good shot at that spare. Oh, he needed the head pin though.
Albert Saulneir, that bowled just prior to Ernie, I forgot to mention, qualified for this tournament with a triple of 377. So all of these bowlers have been right up there in their qualifying for this tournament.
A pair of 10s for Ernie.
Our next bowler, Chuck SISCO. Chuck lives in Overton. He's 34 years old. He's also a fisherman. He's been bowling for 17 years.
There's another strike.
Bowls Wednesday night and in the Pro League as well.
Chucky bowls that big ball. He's got a lot of action on it. Throws quite hard. Ball works back a little bit like an in-shoot type of bowler. He leaves himself a 6-pin drop, the 127, and the right-hand corner pin, number 10. And if you can go outside on the head pin, or you could split the head pin in number 2. And he also takes an 8 on his strike.
Chuck currently has an average of 116 this year, has a career high single of 181 and a career high triple of 418.
Well, you can tell by what you're reading off there, the scores, their averages and their triples, that they're explosive bowlers. They're,
Yes,
they're very capable of coming up with the big match.
Yep, definitely are. Chuck qualified for this tournament with a triple of 349.
And those were 3-game totals, by
Yes,
the way.
that's right.
People aren't familiar with that.
Yeah,
They had to roll 3 games to qualify, but they only bowled 2 in the first part of this tournament. 7-pin drop.
and that's a little different format than what they're used to, so that puts a little more pressure on them to have the good games
Well, you got to
right
get
off the bat.
Yeah, you got to get it done quicker.
Yeah.
He's got a shot there. John's ball works if he gets in on the splits those 2. Deadwood takes up some of the room, but that ball is in there. Oh, nice shot.
Yeah, perfect
shot. Right where he wanted it. That's what I said earlier, that John is a very accurate bowler. And even though you got to have some skill at this game, maybe a lot of skill, but you got to have some luck. And you got to be able to know your deadwoods, and that's a learning process that you pick up over the years.
Viewers sometimes get chance here. They want to take note of the stance of these bowlers and the concentration that goes into it. They're very deliberate in their approach. You'll notice that everything is done exactly the same every time.
Johnny is one of the more deliberate bowlers in town. He takes his time. He has a good look at the alley, pin where his woods there. I know he thought he should have had that one, and he probably should have, because he was right there on that shot. It left the right-hand corner pin. And with the type of ball he bowls, that should be his easy corner, because he's balled breaking that way all the time. Albert's got 19 and open with a spare. Got way down to the left and came out with a good 8. So he is 27 on 2.
Albert's one of these bowlers that uses every inch of the approach. Actually, his back foot is right out over the approach plate there.
Nice spare. Nice spare. That's taking advantage of your deadwoods.
Albert kind of walked away a little bit discouraged there, figuring, boy, I threw that one away, and had to take a second look at it to make sure that they had actually gone down for him.
Well, he had that woody behind there that apparently was frozen on the number 3 pin, and they just kicked the bottoms out. And he got himself a spare. Now he's got 2 in a row.
And he's
getting a lot of action down there.
He certainly does. He's a hard bowler. He's a fairly accurate bowler.
Now he's got the 1, the 8, and the 10, and there's 2 pieces of wood on the plate, so After that last shot, it's hard to say anything what's going to happen. So he left the head pin.
And missed out on his third mark, which would have put a little extra change in his pocket.
A little bonus money there
Yeah.
for double strikes and 3 marks in a row. And he picks off the head pin for 10, and both he and Johnny Watkins are away with 54 after 4.
With the setup the way it is, Bruce, and the luck of the draw, you know, you get 4 good bowlers like this, what you're doing is you're losing each round. You lose a couple of your top bowlers, so
it's quite possible.
You know,
Ernie had a lot of action on that one. He had the 1 and 3 both wobbling. The wood came up behind it, left his 3, so he's got a good guide with that deadwood there, and
that's what he used it for.
I'm not sure he went out that far on it, but you don't want to go too far to the right on that shot either, because you got almost a gimme on the wood. The ball will carry him off of there. So Ernie's 30 on 3 and open with a spare. There he is. And has a 9-pin drop, leaving the 7-pin. Gets him 39 on 3.
And the setup for his second spare.
Right on it.
And he takes it down.
Right on it. I think he's glad the alley wasn't any longer than it is.
Yeah, another few inches, that would have been down into the channels, and he would have lost his chance for that extra spare.
Here's Chuck SISCO.
Chuck right back into that pocket again.
He's got some good action there. He had the makings of a bad break, and the wood slid around, and now he has the left-hand corner pin with a piece of wood out front that shouldn't hurt him.
But has the possibility of hurting him.
Yeah.
And that's just what happens. You never know how that deadwood's going to react.
And has a 9 for 35 on 3. Well, that was a tough break. I guess the wood was a little tougher than we thought, or I thought. I thought if he just tipped it going by, he was going to be able to pick off that.
Those side kicks certainly have made a difference, and as you said, you have to learn to play your deadwood all over again because of the action you get from that.
So he leaves the 1-5 and the 8-9, and it's, well, he's got to hit it just right to get 2 or 3 of those. Well, now he hit the head pin, and wood came out of the side and took an extra pin for him. So he takes it 8, and he's 43 on 4. So after 4 boxes, it's Johnny and Albert 54, Ernie 49 and open, and Chuck 43. We can get a good look at John too on our monitor, face on.
Yeah.
The spectators just see him standing there. You can see what he does, the little rigmarole he goes through, moves the ball around, gets his fingers just right. And, he got the 4 in a row.
The camera angles here today are really great for showing all the different aspects of it.
Well, we have an extra camera this year. Last year there was 2, now we have 3 cameras here this year.
Certainly makes a difference for the coverage that you're getting. And I know Peter was in yesterday working at it, and in this morning real bright and early, setting up and making sure everything was just right. Done a fine job done here well, last year and this year by Cable 5, and we certainly appreciate their support working with the leagues here and with Brunswick Lanes.
Now we got a shot down there. He's got the 4, 7, and the 10. He's got 2 pieces of wood there, so he's got to go down to the right-hand side and have the ball pick off the 10 pin and the wood roll across and take the other 2. That's going to be his shot. shot. That pin moved off the spot.
It certainly
I
did.
know
and,
it did.
And still
And
wobbling.
it's still wiggling, and he moved it off the spot. That was a good shot. He deserved that spare. But that's the name of his game. Sometimes you do, and sometimes you don't. I think he's going to take a 9 on that, because he hit the wood in the gutter as the ball went down. Usually the bowler calls the shot. They're up there. They're the closest ones to it. They're dead on, and they should be the ones to call the shot if there's a close one like that. And John did that and called it properly.
And that's almost a code with the bowlers too. You know, they never try to squeeze that extra pin. If they have a close one like that, they'll call it as accurately as possible.
Most generally, yes, they do. Good second ball.
Like to mention, you know, that if any of the people have any comments or anything, they can write into Cable 5 or into the Brunswick Lanes, or drop into the offices with any comments they might have, or, you know.
We'd like to hear from them.
Yeah, it's always
see what
nice.
we're doing right or wrong.
Yeah.
Albert is 62 on 5. That's a good 8-pin drop. The 2-5, and the ideal shot is to split them. You can get it. You can't get the spare hitting the 5-pin, but you could get it from the outside of the 2-pin. A split is ideal.
And just missed that 2-pin for that spare.
And pins for a 10, which gives him 72 on 6. John and Albert are running neck and neck, 1 pin apart. And
Ernie open on a spare in the 4th here, 49 plus his first ball, so still right in the hunt there.
He's right there with him.
Right on that head pin.
Gets a good 8-pin drop, but not the best break in the world. But there's 3 pieces of wood down there. Well, it's still 3 pieces of wood. So, I don't know. From this angle, I would think he'd go over to the left.
Just what he tried to do.
And 10s. Gives him 67 on 5.
And after 5 alleys, puts him in the lead.
Yeah.
So he's right on that head pin again.
He's putting that ball right in the pocket very good. And he's got a double wood there. That one's, well, it's not frozen. It's right in front of it, but he should be able to slap that one right back. Yeah, that sure isn't what he wanted. He had to have the wood.
Yeah.
Had to have the wood. You can't see the pin, so. And takes a 9 for 76. Well, the boys are riding him a little bit, because that was I'm sure he'd say himself, that was an easy one I should have had.
Yeah.
Chuck is 43 on 4.
Even with the competition and everything as strong as it is here, it's always nice to see them come back. They
The guys
chat
are
a little
fun.
bit. They're having fun and joking with one another, and that's always nice to see. All 4 of these bowlers were in last year's competition, and if I'm not mistaken, all 4 of them were knocked out in the first round, I believe.
Yeah, I don't. That's a year ago. I can't remember.
And unfortunately, 2 of them aren't going to make it into the round this time. But I don't think they're going to make it easy for one another.
If Chuck can split the 1-3, he'd have a good shot at this spare. And he went on the outside, still got it. So I guess when I look at some of these shots, I think the way I'd like to play him, and maybe that's the way he wanted to play it also, but there's more than one way to make the spare, that's for sure, and he just proved it there. You could split those and make it, or you could go to the outside, and he made it.
That's right.
So it doesn't matter as long as you got the spare marked up on the board.
And again, you know, it depends on the angle that you bowl from, the type of ball you have, whether it's an in-turn or an out-turn. And then sometimes you're just lucky.
Hey, you got to be lucky in this game. This is too hard a game to not have any luck.
Yeah.
Well, John's got the 1-2-7, so again, the ideal shot is to split the two, or if he went to the outside, he could also get it. And when you go outside, that's what happens too. You know, he could have got the two. As it was, he just took the head pin off. And has an 8 for 81 on 7. As our spectators look down at the pins, these pins are 15 3/4 inches high. Why they made them 3/4 inch, I don't know, but that's what they are. And at the center of the pin, which is bigger than the two ends, the center of the pin is 2 15/16 inches, and at the tips they're 1 3/4 inches. So that's what you're shooting at down there.
And as I mentioned last week, you know, they look like big pins. But when you start looking at those dimensions and everything, it isn't very big at all.
They look pretty fat from here, but and there's quite a bit of space between them down there too. I've got that written down somewhere, but I just don't see it right now. So John's got an 8-pin drop here, the 4-7. Right on it. Oh, Johnny has a spare the 8th, which gives him 91 and a ball to work with. Now Albert's right with him, so he's got 72 on 6. Kind of got away from him a little bit. But still a good shot at a spare. There's a lot of pins there, but they're all bunched. It's just a matter of getting back in that pocket again, and you could have a spare just easy as not. Even though he kind of punched that through, he
very good.
Only left the 2-pin.
Working with his deadwood there. It's very lucky. It's could have been a straight back punch there. So again, after 7, him and Johnny are only 1 pin apart.
Yeah.
And nice, a big strike.
So they're still going to stay close.
Albert will just have that 1 extra ball to get his count, where Johnny has to do it in the first one. Ernie Pittman, after 6, 76.
Ernie was leading the other two by a few pins after that. Now he's got to have at least 1 mark in these 2 frames.
To the outside of that head pin and didn't seem to carry back as well as he had hoped.
And a 9 for 85. Now, if he wants to stay with the 2 guys ahead of him, he's got to have himself a mark.
Yes, yep. And again, very capable of doing it.
That's going to be a tough one. That leaves him the back 2 in the back row and the 4 pin, and he's got to go down on those 2.
Left the door open a little bit right now for Albert and Johnny to get away from him a little bit here.
Yeah, and another 9, so Ernie has 94 after 8. He's still in good spot. He's all right.
Oh, by all means,
Chucky's working a spare here. He's 2 over par and working on a spare.
We've got a lot of bowling left here today, so anything can happen, that's for sure.
6 on a spare makes him 68. Good shot there for another one.
And just misses
Whoop.
it.
If that had been to the left a little bit more, he'd had his spare, because there was enough speed on that to knock the pin. He takes a 9 for 77. So Chucky's 7 over par.
Back in the pocket again.
Left himself a 2-1 split. And an 8 for 85. So after 8 boxes in the first game of week 2, is Johnny Watkins 91 and open with a spare, Albert SAULNEIR 92 and open with a strike, Ernie PITMAN 94, and SISCO 85.
Again, another week where we're staying really close.
Oh, I marked him wrong there, so it's 84. I'm sorry, 84 for Chuck. I marked him for an 8. He didn't have it. He had a 7. A lot of work, a lot of pin slash down there. You see 4 pins standing there, and all of a sudden there's 1. You know, it just a lot of pins working for him. So he's got 100 on 8 and a 9-pin break, a single pin sitting there, a little guide, his sort, that deadwood on the side. He doesn't want to use it, but if he misses to the left,
He has a chance,
good chance to
put it into play.
kind of steal the spare, but John will be right on that single pin. Yep. Guess maybe a fellow should keep his mouth shut, huh?
It always seems to happen that way, doesn't it? That you call a shot like that, and they always seem to do something to make it not happen.
So John's 110 on 9.
Deadwood just screams across
Yeah,
that
pins
plate.
are moving all the time, just in the right direction. So he's got the 137.
And another possible spare. The setup is there for it.
Oh, John will go after the head pin now, hope to get him a couple of pins. 1 for sure. You have to pin. Go after your pins, and the spares and strikes will take care of themselves. Nice
There
10.
he goes.
And Johnny ends up with 120. Well, nothing wrong with that. 120 with 3 marks, averaging just under 7 per mark. So John only lost, well, he lost 4 pins, I guess, during the run of the game, but that's not bad. That's good for him. Yeah, here's Albert SAULNEIR open with a strike. Well, I think he's got to go after the single pin to the left of it. I'll try to hit the left-hand side of it and move it, because there's a couple of pieces of wood over there that could help.
And that's what he tried to do, but
Yeah.
unfortunately went just a little too far to the left.
So Albert is 99 on 8. Should go after the 2 this time. With a 9, which is 108. And 1 frame to go.
So after 9 frames, he's only 2 pins down from Johnny, so another close game. And Ernie and Chuck still are well within striking distance.
Oh yeah, 1 or 2 marks.
Yeah.
You know, and
Going to
then
change the
everybody's
whole
right
outlook.
there. Now he's got almost the same break he had last time. He's got the 4 pin this time instead of the 2, but the same 2 over in the right-hand corner. I would think he'd go down and play the wood. I think he was trying to stay out of the left-hand end of that wood and make it move, spin it off the wall and back over possibly. So he'll go after his 9 and take 8. 116. Oh, nothing wrong with that.
Very respectable.
Ernie's still in the same room with those guys. He's 94 on 8, so he's, you know, 1 mark and he could be top. And he kind of punches the middle of that and leaves 3 and 2. It's the 3-6-10 and the 4-7, and that's makeable. His ball breaks back, and whoops, he lost that one. But if he could split the 3 and you know, the front one jumps over.
Very lucky not to lose pins by kicking that deadwood back.
Yeah. So he takes his 8 for 102.
A mark right here will put him right up in the ballpark with the.
They're starting to work. They're starting to work. So instead of having a 3-pin drop, you get a 6-pin drop.
In that pocket should do wonders for him. Right,
Right dead on the hit pin.
Broke over. Look, when it first left his hand, looked like it was going to go right into the pocket.
Well, he hit the pin that he had to. The object pin, the head pin. So he takes a 7 for 109.
Another good crowd here this week, Bruce.
Yeah, I see out back there. The
watch his
fans have come in.
Bowling. And thanks to the Red Knight Enterprises and Subway, this is being brought to you over Cable 5 from Brunswick Lanes.
Yeah, that takes care of everybody, doesn't it?
We had to get a little bit of plugs for your supporters. Very nice to see the businesses and different people around support this type of thing.
So 10 for Chuck, 94 on 9. Yeah, if it wasn't for Viking Cable, we might be doing this on radio.
Yeah, they do a fine job, and like to mention, you know, that all the people here are line judge Gerald Tebow, all the cameramen, the sound people in the back. You know, they're all volunteers. They're taking their weeks to come in here and do this and support it, you know, and it's nice to see.
He's got a tough shot there. He's got the 6-7 with a couple of pieces of wood that will move. Nice shot. Nice shot. He's got something to go over there and take the left-hand corner pin, and the pin spun around and kicked the bottom out of that one on the right. So that was a good spare, and that gives Chuck 104 plus. 1 ball. And he's going to work it for 6 more, and it gives him 110. So this is our week 2 bowling, and our first game is just finished. Johnny Watkins leading with 120, Albert Saulneir with 116, Chucky SISCO with 110, and Ernie Pittman with 109. So there's only 11 pins between the 4, and things could change.
Certainly can. Like to take the opportunity to thank St. Jerome's for supplying all the crew here today with their meals, and it's very nice to have them back as a sponsor, helping to feed the crew here, and certainly is appreciated by all.
Yes, it most certainly is.
Would like to ask the people, you know, if you get a chance, drop in and talk to these people and tell them.
And buy something.
Yes, certainly. And it's nice that they support these events.
John had a 8-pin break, wasn't able to pick it up, so now he'll have to go after the 10. And And gets himself a 9 to start off the second game. Crowd's very quiet back there. I think they're enjoying it, but I noticed last week when we bowled, there was a fair amount of applause out there for the guys when they made shots, and they're a little more quiet this week.
Yeah, it seems the only applause that we're getting is right on the very tail end of the
when they're through,
the games. Yeah, and I, you know, very possible that they're concerned about distracting them or something.
There's an interesting shot, Cliff. I would think he'd stay out on the right-hand end of that.
And try to spin that front deadwood back and off of the wall.
I'd be afraid if he went the other end, the ball would take off in the air. And oh,
that's just what he tried to. It's just exactly what he tried.
That's what he wanted.
Johnny shakes his head a little bit, talks to himself, regroups.
Pushed it right through, so John has to take an 8. That gives him 17 after the second box in the second game of the second week.
A lot of seconds.
Yeah.
And right about now, you know, the guys are really starting to think, well, I've got to do well this game. This is my last one. So the pressure mounts a little bit too.
There's a good hit, a bad break, 2 corner pins, but deadwood in front of both of them. In fact, the right-hand corner pin's got 2 pieces of wood. One's flat and one's at a end on, so that's probably the one he'll want to move.
And puts it right down the center.
It's a lot easier to talk this game than play it.
Yeah. Oh, I do a fantastic job of talking back here, but I don't do so good when I'm up on that alley. But I have found this a very learning experience too, to sit here and to watch this and to talk with you and look at the different angles. You have a tendency to comprehend it a little more rather than being up there and actually trying to do it.
Well, you can learn from watching other bowlers, that's for sure, no matter how good they are. They do things, they play things. Why did he play it that way? Why did she do that? Why did he do this?
Yeah, you can learn a lot just by watching.
There's a shot that he's going to probably go down on the red, that line in the middle of the pin, and hopefully slide everything to the right. Nope. Oh, yeah. That is probably the way he would have played it without the wood there.
Yes.
I don't know. I'd have to talk to him, but I don't think he really played it that way.
Sometimes it makes you wonder if they hear you explaining this and then do it just opposite.
Well, I hope not. Here's Ernie Pittman at 109 his first game.
But there was a prime example of how those side kicks are working and kicking that deadwood back off of the sides.
And Ernie starts with an 8. Ernie's sitting in, well, he's actually sitting in 4th place after the first game, but only 11 pins from the top and 7 pins out of second spot. Ernie picking a little bit right now. He's just off his shots a little bit.
Not getting into that pocket quite as nice as he was in the first game.
And has a pair of 8s to start. Chuck SISCO, 110 his first game. Good for 3rd spot.
Gets right into that pocket again to start off. So
you don't know how close he came to getting that strike. That deadwood that's laying there at the end, sticking out, that is rolled off of a pin and stopped instead of rolling. And he plays the wood, takes his spare. But if a fella has a lot of luck going for him, that could have rolled off of the other deadwood and moved over and bumped that one and probably kicked it for a strike. But it didn't. It just, I watched it closely and it just kind of sat there. And punches 2 on his strike. That's the first time we've seen that.
Yeah.
This year.
With their type of ball and the spins and everything that they have on it, you don't see a lot of their punching so much.
Well, if they got a lot of spin on the ball, you know, stuff, as a lot of guys call it, you don't punch as much. The straighter ball you throw, the more it tends to go right through. Takes a 9 for 21.
Johnny getting up, preparing for the third alley. Johnny started off strong in the first game with a mark and down 10 pins just on his first 2 alleys, so, but a lot of bowling to come here at Brunswick Lanes.
He goes to the middle, leaves 3 and 2.
Just get in saying we haven't seen a lot of punching in the.
It happens. You get into a streak, and this is where the good bowlers will have to adjust a little bit.
Compensate for it,
if
right.
they're hitting the head pin too solid, then they move. Some guys, like I said, I think I said last week, they move up or back or sideways a little bit, one way or the other, or
speed it up or
throw
slow
a
it
little
down.
bit harder or softer. Yeah.
Makes a big difference. It certainly does.
Well, it makes your ball work different, whichever way you go.
That's for sure. Again, Johnny looking very strong at this alley, regrouping, so to speak.
Well, John, I think he's using his own balls to bowl with, so he was kind of waiting for them to come back too. But it gave him a chance to think about, you know, what have I got to do here? What's going on?
And we might add that a lot of these bowlers bring their own balls with them too. You know,
there's a lot of that now. Yeah.
They have plenty of balls right here at the alley that you can use, but they like to bring their own. Look at that pin wobble.
Now there's the luck factor coming into it. He could have had a strike so easily. He's got a 9-pin break and a tricky deadwood. I won't say bad wood, but a tricky deadwood. So you got to be very careful of that one. And I would think he'd want to stay out to the right a bit, but you could spin it right off the pin too, because I don't think the deadwood is back frozen on the 5-pin. Okay, that's what he was trying to do, get out there and shove that straight back. And he didn't miss by much. But
not a very big target.
No, it isn't. No, because you gotta hit the pin on the nose.
And that's just what he did there.
Sometimes you don't mean the nose, you mean the side of the nose. You know, and you're getting an awful small target. We used to talk about that years ago when we went away to tournaments. You say, you look over a shot and say, well, what do I got to do? You got to hit it on the nose, but you got to hit it on the left-hand side of the nose. You know, so hey, man, you're getting something small.
And that nose, as we're so to speak, is only 1 3/4 inches in diameter. So
yeah,
and it's
so
it's over 60 feet away from you.
You want half of that. So okay, Albert was he was on a spare. I'm sorry. So he hit 7 on his spare, which gives him 26 on 2. And he's got a double pin there with a wood that on the nose, he just might. Well, is he going to steal it? Nope, right around it. Right around it.
We have a good crowd out here today, Bruce, watching this game.
Well, that's good.
It's nice to see the people coming out to watch these games.
And a 10 for Albert, which gives him 36 on 3. I see some of our older bowlers. Roger Nickerson's up back there. He was watching Randy. That's his father and son. And George and Joan Baker were in watching Jeff bowl. So
Last
those
week,
were
yeah,
two of
so
the, I shouldn't say old-time bowlers, but some that bowled when I did. He's got a tough shot here.
Bowler has to be careful how he words these things. He could get himself in some trouble here.
Yeah. Oh, pretty shot. Pretty
Beautiful.
shot. Very nice. That's one of the better spares we've seen in our 2 weeks.
Yes, certainly is.
Because he way
very
out
well
to the
played.
left-hand end of that wood, and it just took off and went right across, cleaned the 3 pins. That was a nice spare.
Prime example of how to use deadwood.
Yep. Yep. Knowing your deadwood and then being able to put the ball there.
Exactly.
And Ern has started off with 3-8, so he's due to come across here now. Ernie's just the opposite of Johnny Watkins in being deliberate or not deliberate. Ernie doesn't take too much time between balls. He's up there, he's ready to throw, and he gets that ball in there.
There he goes.
That's what he wants.
There he goes.
And John and some others we'll see during the weeks are very, very deliberate.
And the crowd showing their appreciation for that strike.
That'll make him feel better.
Bring back the confidence a little bit.
Oh, Chuck has a 7-pin drop, the 4-7 and the 5 with a wood, so he probably could just go to the right of that red line on the deadwood.
And exactly what he tried to do.
I think he hit it right on the red. He might have had
it
it been a little deeper on it, possibly.
Just pushed it back a little bit.
It wasn't an easy shot. It had to be right down there. Chucky takes an 8 for 29 on 3.
Gives a little foot stomp there for added effect and talking to himself.
You probably say to yourself, you dummy, you know, did you miss that for? I'm not saying he's a dummy. I'm just saying that's what you say to yourself out there. Okay, they're still moving around down there. So he's definitely got to hit the front pin. He's got to get out on that front pin right at the left-hand edge of the deadwood, and that deadwood should carry to the corner and take the 10 and maybe come off the wall and take the other one. Oh, the ball took that.
Again, that ball coming up from the far side, coming back to take that pin.
Yep. But he had his shot. I think he hit his shot for what he wanted. So we got 3 guys open with marks in the last of the 4th there. Oh, Johnny's got to get cracking now and get himself a mark. That's a better ball. Got a good shot at that. You can get it by splitting it or staying to the right of the most front pin there.
Little too far to the left.
Yeah, split wasn't that good. I think the inside shot was better because then the ball would have gone over to take the corner pin.
I think that deadwood, when it flipped, it just shoved that front pin right straight across instead of going back slightly.
And a 10 for John. He's 5 under par after 5, after bowling 120 his first game. But he's the kind of guy who can go 5 alleys and have nothing and then look out for the next 5.
Yeah, he certainly can. And we're halfway through this second game now, this second week, and you know, the time is running out. Now's the time when they've got to start putting those big alleys together.
He got a break there. He got that back pin to fall. So now he's got 3 in a row, the 2-4-7 with a good flat deadwood. I think if he stays to the red line or a little to the right of it, just a very with the right, it'll push everything straight back. to the left of the red.
Then left that number 2 pin standing.
That's why I think the shot had to be up on the red or just a bit to the right of the red to take the pin straight back, so it would take the front one. So John is 55 after 6, game 2. Albert Saulneir is open on that nice spare that we saw his last time up there.
Doors open right now for Albert and Ernie and Chuck also to cut down on that lead that John built up in that first game.
So Albert has a good 7 on it, has the little triangle down the right-hand corner. There's 3 pieces of wood down there. Got to stay up on the front end of it a little bit. Not quite that far. Just a little more solid on that wood, I think, would have driven everything right back.
Yes, yeah.
And a 9 for 62 on 5. Even though some of these spares, they look easy and then they're what we call gimmies, if you don't hit them right, they just won't go.
Albert just missing that kingpin again, the head pin, just ever so slightly, which would have made a big difference in the pins that were left standing there at this time.
The 4 in a row is a tough shot.
Yes.
I don't know if it's just in these lanes or every lane, but I always had trouble making 4 in a row. I always leave if I was able to get in the pocket, I'd always leave the corner pin.
It always seems though, if you hit those 4 horsemen on the outside, it seems to flop them back into one another a little better.
It kicks the bottoms out.
Yeah.
And but to me, it was such a small target out there. If you missed your target, you got nothing.
That's right.
So I always like to split them and at least get a couple.
Yeah. You don't feel as though the ball has been wasted.
There's Ernie rolling on his strike right now. Has a 9-pin break with the 5-pin, which is the one right fair in the middle of the alley. And he goes by to the right. So Ern has 9 on his strike, which is 43 on 4. And a 9 for 52. So Ernie's 52 on 5. He laid that one down a little bit. It probably was right on the foul line when he released it, and that takes kind of away from your control. It takes stuff off the ball.
There
Nice spare. Nice spare. Good comeback.
Again, that deadwood coming off of those side kicks and just like crazy down there.
Chuck SISCO is 39 on 4, and he's open with a spare. Good pocket hit and a...
There he goes.
And so far 8. So he comes up with 8, which is 47 on 4. Well, he's got a piece of wood that he'll probably want to go right on the left-hand end of that. And it would take the 5-pin out and hopefully push the wood across. So he's solid on the 5-pin. Now you go for his 10. He didn't have an easy shot there, that's for sure. So Chuck's 56 on 5.
Back in that pocket again, and he's going to get himself a strike. That deadwood,
A lot of action.
shoved that deadwood right back onto that number 7 pin. So that finishes up 6 alleys in this second game. We have Johnny Watkins at 55, Albert Saulneir at 71, Ernie's got 62 in open, and Chuck has 66 in open. So the pinfall's changing slightly here.
4 boxes to go. It's still anybody's. John get more deliberate all the time.
Yeah. Bounce that ball a little bit,
Yeah.
and that's kind of unusual to see John's delivery. It's usually so smooth. Got a fairly decent setup there for a spare.
John's gone, well, these last 2 boxes of the first game and the first 6 of this game, he hasn't had a mark, and that's rare for John to go that long without a spare or strike. Good 9. So he's 64 on 7 now, so he's only got 3 boxes left, so I would think if he wanted to feel a little safer, he'd want to kind of mark out.
Yeah, I think so. He's getting a little encouragement from some of the fans in back here, and his family's here watching, so he's got a lot of good support for him here today.
But in the long run, he's going to knock the pins down by himself.
That's right. Nobody can do it
There
for
he
him,
goes.
that's for sure. So there he gets a little bit of a break there, and
Got the 4-7, and that wood's still moving on him. And it didn't help. Well, okay, it swung around. That's not too bad a wood. That swung around a bit to help him. I think if he got right around the red, he'd be pushing that right back on the 2. There he goes.
there he goes. So this is the first mark he's had in 10 alleys, counting the last 2 on the last game. So maybe this is the turning point for him.
I know when we used to bowl tournaments and things, and you got a guy bowling in your 4th spot, and he got a mark in the 8th, and that was just a big boost to the whole team because, hey, you were going home, and you had a mark open in the 8th, and that's really where you wanted it because it made the other team look at you, and it gave your team the little boost. So that mark in the 8th could make John feel better.
Gives you that little psychological.
This is Albert SAULNEIR with a 6-pin drop. Nice shot.
And nice
shot.
spare. Albert, this is the second one he's pulled off like this today that's given him a really nice spare.
You could take those 3 out, or you could punch 1, or you could do most anything, but he was right where he wanted to go. So Albert's 81 on 7 and open. Off to the left and got 4. So it gives him 85 on 7. Oh, right on it.
Right in that pocket.
Good ball. And a good 10. And that gives Albert 95 on 8.
Really nice shot. That ball left his hand right out on the edge of that channel and run all the way right down straight.
That's Ernie Pittman, 62 on 6 and open with a spare.
Oh, and he punches.
2 for 64. Brings up a lot of pins. Got a good possible 10 there. The 1-5 left. You see them stand there and wait sometimes. If the wood is still rolling, the rule says you should wait till all the dead wood stops rolling. Some people are in a hurry or don't know, and they'll take off and bowl on rolling deadwood, and it has against the rules, really.
Yeah.
You should be waiting for that wood to stop, because it could help you too. Once it stops, it might be better than it was when it was moving.
Certainly can be to your advantage, that's for sure, if it's moving around.
A good 8-pin drop for Ern. 2-5. 2 pieces of wood in behind there. I would hope the second one wouldn't hurt him. It possibly could. If he hits that front pin and drives the front deadwood back, it could push the other one away from the...
Oh.
Oh, he played it safe. Played it safe.
Again, using that deadwood to his advantage.
I'm sure he was going after the front pin. Chuck's open with a strike. 66 on 6. And a nice ball in there. Nice ball in there.
Right in the pocket. One pin away from a little bit of bonus money.
So now he's got to pin the 4 pin for a spare. Right on it.
Right on it. Now he's got a double mark. It gives him 20 on the 6th frame.
Yeah, he's 86 on 7 and open with a spare. Another mark would give him 3 in a row, and he'd be able to win some money.
And would put him up into first. At least first place in this game with the pinfall. So
Chops 4 out of the middle, gives him 90 on 7. I'm sorry. The shot here is to go for your 10. I think you go for the first 3 and go for the second 3 and come up with a good 10.
try not to leave any of those pins standing.
That's
Just
a
what
nice
he did.
10. A nice 10. Real good pinning. So after 8 alleys of the second game, Chuck has 100. Ernie Pittman has 82 and open. Albert Saulneir has 95. And Johnny Watkins has 74 and open. So here we're coming down to the last 2, and we'll be determining very shortly who the 2 are that are going to advance.
So again, we're having to come down to the last 2 boxes. And this is becoming a trend with this tournament, I think. Bruce is, everybody's staying really close, and everything's being decided down into these last 2 alleys.
That's good. It keeps us in the game, and it keeps our spectators interested, I
Certainly
think.
does. And it sure keeps the pressure on the bowlers. They're falling for him.
7. And that puts Johnny over par now. He's 81 on 8.
Nice fair.
Went to the outside of the head pin, and the ball comes off of that pin and takes the right-hand corner. And, of course, the head pin kicks the bottom out of the number 2 pin. So John has 2 spares in a row.
And another one puts him with a little bonus money. And
he went a long while, as we said earlier, he went a long while without a mark, and now he's come back with 2.
Third one give him a little bonus money, but also put him right back there in contention again as well. Right on it.
He's
Now,
got
Bruce,
6.
that has to be a hard break.
Yes, but you still got some wood on the alley.
Yeah, and he's certainly going to have to use it to his advantage.
He's got a double wood down in the right. I don't know. I think the way they've been playing him lately, he would go to the right side of that far deadwood. I'm not sure now. Just what if he goes to the left, I can't see him getting the 7 pin, but. Yep.
That's just what he did. And that's his 3rd mark in a row, which gives him a little bonus. It puts him in real good shape now with these scores.
So John's 107 and 1 ball to work for him after he's 120 for the first game. So he come out of this in real good style with those 3 big marks. He loads this one. He's hanging right there. Oh, 2, 4, 6, 7, 3. So that gives Johnny 110 and a 2-game total of 230. So we're going to have to wait and see if that's good enough.
Yes, they're certainly capable of coming real close to him. That's for sure. Albert with 116 his first game. He's 95 now, and has 2 alleys left.
If Albert was to throw a pair of 10s, he'd have 231.
And he didn't start off too good punching out that 4 pin. again, we'd like to take this opportunity to thank our sponsors, the Red Knight Enterprises and Subway, for sponsoring this tournament again this year, the second annual tournament, and Brunswick Lanes for hosting it here at their lanes. Cable 5 for their crews that have been here and working to bring this to the viewers.
Albert's 103 on 9, which gives him 219 for his 2-game total with 1 box. The one we're looking at right now. I think he's already made this shot once this game, but that's no guarantee.
That's for sure. And he needed that spare to outpin Johnny. So right now, the best he can possibly get is 229, which will put him 1 behind John. And that's what he did.
113, and Albert Sauulneir has a 2-game total of 229. So that's what these next 2 bowlers are going to be shooting for, to better that mark. Ernie Pittman with 82 and open. Working. 6 on it. Gives him 88 on 8. Close, but not enough. And a 10 for Ernie, which is 98. And that gives Ernie 207. So Ernie's going to have a double strike.
Puts him in a little bit of a binding situation
puts the pressure
here,
on him.
doesn't it? Certainly does.
You don't throw double strikes every time you need them, so we'll see.
In the pocket.
Even if he gets 2 marks without a double strike, it would still only give him, well, it'd keep him below the other 2. But and spare for Ern, which is 108, which is 217, and the best he can do is 227.
And
17 is 115 for 224. So we've got 3 games real close. First 3 bowlers up there only 6 pins apart. And now Chucky's coming along. He's got 210 right now. He needs 2 10s to tie Johnny Watkins so that he would be advancing.
I'd like to take a moment and thank St. Jerome's for supplying the meals this week for the crews here, and thank them for their support.
Oh, there's that triangle that we talk about, that you leave 1 pin. Now this is a big pin for Chuck right here. As I said, 2 10s he could tie John, a 10 and a 9 he could tie Albert.
And he got it.
He got his 10. And if we end up with a tie, I think we have a 1 alley roll off.
1 alley roll off.
1 alley or 2 alley roll off.
We'll have to check on that. I kind of forget.
I had it written down and I've forgotten now too.
Yeah.
But we're not going to have
and
to worry
a big
about
strike.
it. We're not going to have to worry about it.
Strike. We don't have to worry about it, but we'll have to check and be able to tell the folks next week just how that works, because that could happen very easily.
So right at this minute, Chuck and John are 230, the 2 to advance, and Chuck's rolling 2 extra balls here, but he's striking.
And another big strike. Another big strike.
And he's still got a ball left.
And that picks him up a little bonus money, Bruce.
Yep. They just fooled him with the fans. Just keep him waiting until the end.
Chuck.
I'll show you what I can do here, he says.
Turns around and raises his hand in victory, so.
Well, let's see another
and
one
rightly
here now,
so.
Huh? Nope.
And big
so
6.
26 gives him 136 and a total of 246. So of week 2 bowling, the totals are this way. Chuck SISCO 110 and 136 for a total of 246. Johnny Watkins 120 and 110 for 230. Albert Sauulneir 116 and 113 for 229. and Ernie Pittman 109 and 115 for 224. So the two bowlers who will be advancing to the next round are Chuck SISCO with 246 and Johnny Watkins with 230.
That's right, and we have a little bit of prize money for the two people that advance this week. We also have a little bonus money to give to Chuck Sisco for his double strikes going out. On behalf of Bruce, myself, our sponsors, Red Knight Enterprises and Subway, Cable 5, and the Brunswick Lanes, we want to thank you for watching this week. Don't forget to tune in next week. More exciting bowling coming your way from Championship Bowling here at Brunswick Lanes.